Jake Retzlaff getting comfortable? Well, that's a problem for real.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, the most watched Ole Miss podcast out there. I'm your host, Stephen Willis, a 10-year veteran member of the national media with Yahoo Sports and a former Ole Miss staff member as well. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the number one sports podcast network in the entire country. That's all because of you. On today's show, we're going to dive into Ole Miss and Tulane as we visit with Corey Gloor, the voice of the Tulane Green Wave. We'll talk about why Jake Retzlaff is finally settling in, and that could be something that Ole Miss absolutely needs to take seriously next weekend. Tulane's going to try and slow the game down, shorten possessions, and force Ole Miss into a grinded-out style, meaning the Ole Miss's front seven will be the key to this matchup. Before we get there, though, we're going to start with next season's opener in Nashville, Tennessee. Ole Miss announced that they will play Louisville on September 5th or 6th. In Nashville, Tennessee. We'll talk about that. And remarkably, it will be Pete Golding's first regular season game as a head coach. We'll break down why that matchup matters and what it signals for the program's direction. All of this and more on today's Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Remember, we're free and available on all the podcast apps and on YouTube. And a special hello to the insiders and everydayers who make this show what it is, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your live bets all season long. Really interesting stuff. All right, we're going to meet with Corey Gloor in just a second, just a couple of minutes from now. But first, while we were doing this show, Ole Miss announced that their season opener is set either September 5th or 6th from Nashville, Tennessee against the Louisville Cardinals. I think Ole Miss actually plays Vanderbilt next year too, so Nashville's a little bit weird, but it's a neutral site game. Pete Golding's first regular season game, if you can believe it, with everything that's going to go on for the next 10 months, that is still going to be that. But you can see at that point, John David Baker's offense, what the defense looks like, the new additions to the staff, the players that got retained. Can Ole Miss make a run in 2026? That is what that game against Louisville is going to tell everybody. If you remember in 2021, Ole Miss opened up in the Peach Classic, whatever that is, in the Georgia Dome for a college football kickoff against Louisville. And it was that kind of announced Ole Miss's arrival in what would ultimately be a Sugar Bowl season. This football game has a chance to do exactly the same. You want to jump out to a good start. You want to have everything clicking. You want to have everything moving. You don't want to look discombobulated. If you can just do that, it doesn't matter necessarily if you win that game, because Jeff Brom and Louisville, they're a good program. They know how to win games just like this. But if Ole Miss can come out and play well, look all right, propel themselves into a 9-game SEC season next year, it could turn out to be pretty good. Anyway, we have Corey Gloor, the voice of the Tulane Green Wave, talking about why this matchup matters and why Jake Retzlaff is the player that you need to watch out for. But here's Corey Gloor. Stick around. Corey Gloor, voice of the Tulane Green Wave, is nice enough to join us. And Corey, it feels like we've done this before, man.
Like end of September, maybe? Did we talk? I don't know. It feels like it's just yesterday. All of a sudden, we were talking Ole Miss football here at Tulane.
Yeah, and it was not a day that would be like a shiny example for the Tulane Green Wave that day for whatever reason, whatever happened. I'm expecting a far better effort from Tulane this time. In my opinion, coming through it, I think Ole Miss just might have too much on the offensive and defensive line that I think the spread's about right, but I do think you're going to have a better effort from the Tulane Green Wave this time.
I'm not envisioning 35-point deficit like the meeting in September. And yeah, like there's no way around it. I'll stand here and beat the Tulane drum as much as possible, but they're massive underdogs here. And there's a reason for that, in part because of the matchup in September. But I think, and we'll dive into this, I know, but part of the September matchup was there was an element of woe for that Tulane team, especially right off the bat. And that was Chambliss's really second game taking over as quarterback. And he just did what he's done throughout the course of the year. So I think there was a little bit of playing over their skis a little bit. There was a nervousness being there and being around that team and everything that comes with that team. The fact that there's some familiarity here doesn't hurt Tulane, that they've been in that building, that they've been around that crowd, that they have seen those offenses and defenses in person, that they have a game plan that they can start rebuilding off of for this game. I think Tulane likes this better than going to Eugene, to put it mildly. It doesn't mean they're going to come out of here with a win, but with where Tulane was at that point of the year, coming off an emotional win over Duke and their former quarterback, and where they are now, I certainly expect a little bit of a better, cleaner game from Tulane. I don't know if that means a victory. I would love to see it happen, obviously. I know how high the card deck is stacked against Tulane in this one, but I'm not expecting the 35-point margin that we saw last meeting.
Well, speaking of 35, 3,500 tickets are being distributed for Tulane fans. Are you expecting a full boat traveling up to Oxford?
I would be shocked if that's not all used and they try and find some secondary ticket market ones here as well. I know that they are flying out the door here, and the ones that are made available to certain people around the athletic department, those are all being gobbled up. I mean, you're talking about, it's probably about a 5-hour drive from New Orleans to get up there. And a lot of people made that trip in September. So with the magnitude of what this game means and just what this puts Tulane into in terms of college football picture, that 3,500 will be taken.
Yeah, and I realize that it might be a little bit different now, but I imagine that Tulane fans are pretty excited knowing that they're the first Louisiana school this decade to make the college football playoff.
It's come up, especially in light of recent news upriver here. No, there will always be a little bit of that. I would imagine that exists as well with your group and your fan base as well. About our friends in Baton Rouge. Yes, that has not been lost amongst the many things that have been flying around about Tulane's inclusion in the playoff this year. That has not been lost in our fan base.
Yeah, it should be pretty interesting. Jake Retzlaff, really good quarterback, did not have the best of games his first trip up to Oxford. What will Tulane try to do to make him comfortable? Because I think the speed got him the first time. You're talking about the oh wow moment. I think he just sped him up just a little bit too much. What are they going to try and do to slow this game down for him?
So a little bit about that matchup in September. Tulane was without their left tackle for that game, and he might be a pro on this offensive line in Derek Graham. He was injured, and so they had to reshuffle the offensive line totally, and that's not the defensive front you want to see when you're piecing things together up front. That was also talking about week 4 of Jake Retzlaff being the quarterback for this team when he arrived July 28th, and so he was still trying to absorb the playbook by that stage. And he was going through a Big Ten team and an ACC team and an SEC team in his 3 of his first 4 games trying to figure it out. I think he didn't have a full grasp of the full offense at that stage in the season and didn't have his main protector off to his left either. Tulane's also changed the running back room around him since that game. And so I'm a long way of saying he's far more comfortable now with what's around him and how this offense runs than he was in week 4. And so he has seen teams that might not be size plus speed the same way that Ole Miss is defensively, but he has seen a lot more thrown at him and experienced a lot more since then, where he's not going to be totally out of sorts in this game as he was in week 4, still trying to absorb everything and deal with injuries in front of him.
All right, when we come back, we will talk about the coaching scenario at Tulane. They're going through it as well, just like Ole Miss is this time. We will talk about that with Corey Gloor, the voice of the wave, right after this. You know, the holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every single time. It's not just something you wrap. It's a way to share memories, because Aura isn't your average picture frame. You see, you can preload this frame with photos even before you gift it. So when they plug it in, the memories are already there. No apps to figure out, no setup headaches, just instant smiles. Grandparents, parents, newlyweds, anyone who loves photos, endless uploads of pictures and 30-second videos, they're all available through the Aura app. It's a holiday gift that actually get used and isn't forgotten in a drawer sometime. For a limited time, save on this perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com and get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using the promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code COLLEGE. The deal is exclusive to listeners of this show, and frames sell out fast. So order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support this show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Do us a favor, like, subscribe, and comment on the video. Subscribe to whichever podcast and on whichever audio podcast you're listening to, and give this a 5-star review. It costs absolutely nothing, but helps keep all of this free. Thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen every day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayers Club and get Locked On Ole Miss with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and even more. All for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedonolemmiss.supercast.com or check the link down in the show notes down below. We have new videos from Dalen Flowers and Corey Burton, and we have press conferences on the all access portion of it. Lots of content on that side that is going to happen. We blast out an email blast to a newsletter every single day. You can check all of that out when it comes out. So it's pretty cool. It's really cool stuff. Anyway, let's get back to Corey Gloor and the Tulane Green Wave right now. All right, Corey, elephant in the room time. John Summerall accepted the job at the Florida Gators. He's coaching in the game. He posted a tweet just on Wednesday or Thursday where he was talking about he only had 2 hours of sleep and all of that going on. That has to make Tulane fans nervous about this trip for what could happen. Is there a distraction factor with Summerall?
No. I mean, there really isn't. And that's not even me standing here as I'm carrying an olive and blue flag, as someone who talks to the guy both before he took this job and after he's taken this job, as someone who speaks to a lot of fans. There's really not. And as someone who's around the team, there's not. And so it's been strange. This is not normal, even as what college football is right now. And I don't think that there's one other team that's experiencing something more crazy, and Tulane's playing them next Saturday. And so I think the difference here, as soon as John got here, there were rumors about him going elsewhere. And last year, at the tail end of the year, it was North Carolina who was going after him. John tried to block that all out, and the team freefalled at the end of the year. This year, really right after Tulane went to Memphis and won, and that kind of saved their season the first week in November, his name was out there again. And as more jobs kept opening up in the SEC, everyone knew he wanted an SEC job. And so the talk was there, and John just kept addressing it to his team daily about, hey, my name's in the news. What do y'all think about that? Should I take a meeting with Florida? What if Lane leaves Ole Miss? We were there. Should they entertain me? What about LSU? Like, he was fully transparent with the team this year and his coaching staff and the entire department. So by the time it became official, heading into the championship game, there was no rug pull here. Like, everyone knew it was happening. And I think you've seen the results. This team did play its best football of the year, really when this talk restarted in November, and played one of their best games in a long time in the championship game. So again, that's a long way of me saying it's not a major factor here. I really don't think it is. Now, John has been in Gainesville in the first half of this week, and then he's returning for the second half of this week, and he is here through the trip to Oxford. And then if Tulane wins this game, then he's got more scheduling to figure out before Sugar Bowl on January 1st. But he kept his house here. He's still living in his house here at New Orleans, and he's not interested in getting rid of it in the near future. It has been pretty amazing how smooth this has all felt in spite of what's been a chaotic time.
Yeah, this is definitely, all the bowl games going on. This is the chaos bowl. This is the one that all the weird stuff is happening, because if you look at Ole Miss, they were talking the players had the most energetic practice they've had in like 7 or 8 weeks since all this happened. They love Pete Golding. They're excited. They like Charlie Weiss and the guys that came back. They just want to play football after what they view as the last 6 weeks being anything but football. And that leaves an aura of unpredictability from Ole Miss and Tulane going into this game. So chaos is the word of what's going to happen. Now, one thing that I'm interested in seeing, I said in July, this Ole Miss football team will go as far as the front seven takes them. You got a quarterback that is mobile in Jake Retzlaff. Tulane wants to run the ball. We've all seen it. We've all done this game before. This is 2.0. This front seven will determine if Ole Miss handles Tulane, handles Georgia, handles Ohio State, or whatever's out there. It is going to be 100% on those guys. Tulane has to be acutely aware of that front seven unit. What do you think the Wave's going to try and do to stunt them and slow them down?
It's a great question, because that's the obvious key here for the Wave as well. You hit the nail on the head. And frankly, of the many interviews I've done this week, appreciate you actually knowing a little bit about Tulane and the way that they played this year, because it's been a lot of defending Tulane this week for me. But I think what's happened as the year has gone along is the running game has started to get a little bit more established for Tulane, is that the work that they put their tight ends into to essentially just, they've become a little bit more of pass threats in the last couple of weeks. They will probably be asked to not be in this game and just give some more time, open up as many holes as possible for whether it's Jake Retzlaff to hang in the pocket or escape, whether it's Jamari McClure, who's really taken over the running back spot. The youngsters had a great month of November. And try and just buy some more time. That's going to be the way that Tulane will probably have to operate here, to try and find a way to slow down the Ole Miss front seven. Amidst everything that happened in that September game, Tulane didn't do half bad of a job on that Ole Miss front. Now, did the score lead to some of that? I don't know. I'm sure you would probably say maybe. But the Tulane front did okay and held their own by and large against that defensive line amidst a lot of things that were going wrong there. I expect it's going to be cranked up to 11, how everyone is going out there and trying to perform in this game. But Tulane did okay amidst everything that went wrong in September against the Ole Miss front. Can they back that up? That's going to determine if they have any shot of winning this game.
Yeah, it's going to come down. You can't have Jake Retzlaff starting out 0 for 11 or whatever he was. That absolutely can't happen. I think if I was John Summerall and getting into that game, immediately a flare pass to a running back, something incredibly simple, so you get that one in the completion column so it doesn't go, oh my goodness, here we go again.
Yeah, I mean, just you're going to see kind of bread and butter stuff, I feel, to start the game from Tulane if they start off offensively. The quick hitters out to the flat are going to be early on here to try and spread Ole Miss out a little bit, opening things up for Retzlaff to not just throw the ball downfield, but just run the ball. I mean, we saw Retzlaff dealt with a knee injury for a lot of November, but he was let off the leash in the championship game and he ran all over North Texas. And so I expect that to be back in the fold here if they're going to be able to move the ball. Tulane needs his mobility to have a shot to score points in this game. And not just his throwing ability, but his ability to be a dual threat needs to be part of the equation.
And one thing that's interesting in this game, and this might be the best kicking game of all of the playoff line, Durkin, the field goal kicker for Tulane, Canero, the field goal kicker for Ole Miss, I don't know if it gets much better. Every time I saw Durkin kick the ball, he was making a field goal, it seemed like, and Canero's missed one or two as the course of this season has gone on. I think the special teams play in this game is going to be fairly elite both ways.
Yeah, I mean, the Tulane's 11 wins this year, you can draw the lines of the special teams advantages, like just in all 11. Like the what Patrick Durkin has become, he has now become Tulane's leading kicker all time in field goal makes in a single season. He is also elite in the touchback category. Tulane actually strategically did not really kick a ton of touchbacks against North Texas because they want to try and get them to return it a little bit, and it cost them. But almost every time he hits the ball, it's going through the back of the end zone. And so, you know, the way he's been able to take hold of that, the Tulane punter, Alec Clark, is top 5 in the nation in punt average. I mean, this special teams unit, this third phase, has been as equally important to Tulane being here as offense defense has been. It's been true complementary football all year long from all three sides of the ball.
And this has a chance to be an absolutely elite uniform game. And seriously, it was gorgeous whenever they played back in September. I'm sure we're just going to get another shot at gorgeous on the field again. I don't know what it is about the colors going together set up. It looks so good on camera.
It's beautiful. Like it's works of art. Like it's like we need more talk about this matchup and not whether Tulane should be here and how Ole Miss is distracted or whatnot. Because you know, we've been wearing the blue the last couple of weeks, and that's been a thing here at Tulane amongst other programs when playing for championships and stuff. I don't know if they'll have that choice, frankly, when Ole Miss comes to play here. But I mean, you're just like, what an appealing matchup just to look at on TNT or True TV or HBO Max or however people are going to watch this game next week. It is beautiful. I hope the sun is shining. I hope it's beating down on Vaught Hemingway and these colors pop.
Yeah, and the rumor is right now that Ole Miss is going to be coming out in the same uniform that they wore in September.
Yeah.
So that's the rumor. Tulane, they're another school that has a lot of options. So I'm expecting the baby blue and all of that to come. I'm telling you, it's going to look fantastic. Anyway, when we come back, we're going to talk to the voice of the wave, Corey Gloor, about paths to victory for both teams and what you can expect in this football game. Stick around. You know, NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting, honestly. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. Either a receiver gets hot, or a defense tightens up, or momentum flips after a turnover, or missing out on a fourth down conversion. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. They have player props updating as a guy heats up. You can bet the next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com to place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, so can you. All right, one last segment here. Corey Gloor, voice of the wave, in the house. Listen, what is Tulane's path to victory in this game?
Limit the number of possessions as humanly possible. That means ground and pound, and just grinding out yards is what they'll need to do offensively. It was, you know, they just saw statistically the best air raid attack in the country to win a championship against North Texas, and that was the design. They tried to slow things down. They put up a 16-play scoring drive in their opening drive of the game, and then they got North Texas really out of whack, and they started turning the ball over, and then they took advantage of it. Tulane's going to need to keep the Ole Miss offense off the field as much as humanly possible here, because I don't think Tulane's going to be able to throw a ton at the Rebels offense that they haven't already seen that will throw them out of sorts. So you got to limit the amount of time that Ole Miss is on the field with the football. When the Tulane defense is out there, they will try and again stack up Kejuan Lacey first and limit what he is capable of doing. They will want to make Ole Miss throw the ball, even though they've been very good at throwing the ball. The path to success for any John Summerall team, and Florida will experience this starting next year, is winning the ground game, period. If they win the rushing game, they are almost undefeated with John Summerall as a head coach. So they will want to try and bottle up Kejuan Lacey, then go to work on Trinidad Chambliss, find ways to keep him in the pocket. If that means that you're only dropping 4 or something like that, like they will try and do something to bottle him up that not many teams have been able to do. But it starts with stopping Kejuan Lacey because they want Ole Miss to throw the ball.
Yeah, which is weird to hear because normally that's the opposite whenever you face Ole Miss. But Tulane under Willie Fritz, whenever Ole Miss went down to New Orleans a couple of years ago, Tulane's the one that kind of invented the engage 8 way to attack Ole Miss, to where everything was so quick and basically took away the run game from Ole Miss. So I'm expecting something similar to that, if we're going to be honest. But what Ole Miss is doing different now that they weren't doing then, everything was downfield to Trey Harris, and everything was trying to hit an explosive plays. Now they have no problem throwing the ball at the line of scrimmage, hitting a hitch route to where it's a run after catch type thing. I think that's the difference in this Ole Miss team. Whenever you look at this Ole Miss offense, what is your concern? Let's say if Tulane is able to take care of Kejuan Lacey, what is your concern if they do that? Because it's one of those butterfly effect type situations.
Yeah, I mean, the most susceptible part of this Tulane team all year has been the secondary. And so, and the fact that this flies in the face of convention for winning this game, that was the exact same message against North Texas with one of the best passing attacks in the world, and leaning on your secondary to get the job done. But that's what Tulane will be banking on here. It's a young secondary that is a ball hawking secondary. That is the opportunistic term gets thrown around a lot with this secondary. They tend to perform at their best when they're backed up in the red zone. But they will need that group, that young group on the corner spots and a veteran group in the safety spots to stay on their men and not get crossed up with what Ole Miss is able to do in their route running here. Because yeah, you're right. Like it kind of flies against what you would think for what teams would attack against Ole Miss here. But the way Tulane will win a game is by making a team throw the ball, whether it's out to the flat, whether it's those quick ones over the middle to the line of scrimmage and lean on their linebackers to get the job done, or the deep shots. It's going to be totally up to them in order to find a way to win this game.
Oh, and before I let you go, one more thing. In certain games this year, there was the game against East Carolina, the Ole Miss game. There was a little bit of a struggle there. Tulane struggled in the red zone. They couldn't punch it in for 7. Patrick Durkin's a great kicker, but they couldn't get it in for touchdowns. Have they addressed that, or is it still kind of a little bit of a problem?
For the most part, they've addressed that. There have been blips of that creeping back in as the back half of the year unfolded. I think about the last game of the regular season, Charlotte, they struggled to actually score in the red zone against a very bad team. And so I do wonder if that was kind of a playing with your food element in that game for Tulane. But I think the biggest change that's happened when Tulane's gotten in the red zone is that they're still moving with a little bit of tempo when they get down there. In the first half of the year and in October, they would really slow down and take a breath. And that just seemed to throw a lot of things out of whack. Whereas now they're not a fast-paced team. They're kind of middle of the road in terms of pace, but they will keep their pedal down a little bit more as they get into plus territory and deeper into the red zone. I think that's allowed Jake Retzlaff, who has told this coaching staff, has told me he likes it better when they're moving faster. That's allowed him to feel a lot more comfortable in those big pressure situations.
All right, Corey Gloor, voice of the Wave. What do you got going on this weekend, Corey? What are the plans to get up to Oxford? Are they doing anything different for the visiting team?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, it's almost going to be like a normal road trip in terms of the itinerary. What I believe we're leaving Friday, from everything I've been told. My appetizer here is because I call basketball here too. I'm flying to Las Vegas this weekend to call basketball, so that's my appetizer for a college football playoff game next weekend. So it's not a bad start, I would say. And then, yeah, I mean, like the campus is wild right now about what's happening here, and so there's a lot of stuff that we're doing behind the scenes in front of things to get ready for next Saturday. It's going to be a culmination of a Tulane program that has earned this type of moment over what they've been the last 4 years to be in this position. And you can just kind of feel how truly excited people are here to just see Tulane in this spot, which you would have never dreamed of a couple of years ago.
All right, the Tulane Green Wave, Corey Gloor, the voice of the top team in the state of Louisiana, is undisputed. It's not anything that can be argued. They are the best team in Louisiana, and they earned it this year. Thank you, Corey, for coming on the show, and we will talk to you soon, man.
Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in today to Locked On Ole Miss. Tomorrow, we're going to keep looking at the Tulane game. We're trying to find guests on the All Access portion of the channel as we continue to launch this subscription service. There's just a lot of stuff going on. We will have Tim Thomas talking about the basketball team. All of that stuff is available for you on Locked On Ole Miss. Make sure you subscribe and follow the show so you'll get all the latest episodes as well. We're all on the social channels as well, so check that out. And also, did Locked On Ole Miss make your Spotify Wrapped? You can prove it on social media to secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform, and they will drop you that code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club and get the favorite show ad-free, exclusive access to a members-only Discord, and even more stuff. For those of you on video, we're going to send you over to the first ever 24/7 national Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On College Football. Hotty toddy, everybody. And remember, the biggest game in Mississippi college football history, just over a week away. And I can't be much more excited about that. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow.